Hi and welcome to Angling For You. Woohoo! Today have we got a good one. So I've been asked this question, I cannot tell you how many times, and nothing online shows you what I'm about to show you. Edge monster response margin. We're going to get into it. Let's go. Right guys, so like I said, today we're going to be comparing the edge monster and the response margin. I've got both. I've spent my own money to bring these forward so people can make that decision. Now today we're going to be, you may have seen yesterday's video, which is the unboxing of the edge monster, and if you go sort of a week or so back, you'll see the unboxing of the response margin. But today this is going to be a side-by-side comparison in the garden. As soon as we get out fishing, I'll bring you that one as well, and we'll really put them to the test. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab that camera, I'm going to flip round, and I'm going to show you down the poles, and let's just see what the difference is. Right guys, so to start off with, you can see these are, I've put these tip to tip, and this is obviously the length difference between the response and the edge monster. This has obviously got the butt section on as well, the dolly butt. So from the original sections is here, so that distance here to here is obviously the difference between. So moving around the pole, you can see the side by side. I'm going to move a little bit across and you can see straight down the poles. Now I'm going to move towards the end section and we can see a little bit about the differences. So starting off, I mentioned on the other video that the response, which is this one, is definitely thicker. It's a thicker pole and it's a thicker tip than this one here that I'm shaking with no Dacron on is the edge monster, and this one with the Dacron on here is the response. And as you can see, it is definitely thicker, and we will go into more detail of this when the camera's set up. Now going back again, and we will touch this when we've got him in his hand. Straight away, if we go to here, there is the bead and the puller on the response. Now look how far away it is on the margin. So I was correct on the edge monster that there is a considerable distance, there you go, of top kit size. So the response is definitely a smaller top kit than the margin. So what I will do is we'll put the top kits side by side, and we'll have a difference and a good look at it. But you can see them side by side, and there is something interesting I have found about the end section. Not very conventional, but we'll still go through it anyway. Let's put you back onto main camera. You can see them side by side, and we will have a little chat about the bits. Right guys, so this is the response end section, and this is the little dolly butt that goes into the edge monster. Now if you put it in conventionally, then it just does not accept it. But if you flip it round, and I know it's unconventional, but it fits in just the right amount that you would expect a pole section to go in. So if you do want to put that on your pole, it's not the end of the world. So I wouldn't say I'd go out and buy it, but it does fit on it if you wanted extra length. Let's just push that section on and see. It does actually work, which is pretty crazy. But not that I would go out and buy an extra section and put it in the reverse way that it's meant to go in. But just a quick note, that does actually work. So if you do find yourself, for some reason you've got one of these, or you've upgraded to a response, and you do decide that I want to go a little bit further, and I just stick that in the back end of it, because as you can see, fish swirling, it's not the end of the world. So my opinions, so £285, sort of 300 quid when they were new, £170, 200 quid when they were new. What do you get more for 85 quid? The response is lighter for sure, and even if I take this one and I take that one section off, obviously going to be a lot shorter, but it's still lighter. It's definitely lighter, is the response. Stiffer, definitely. What we'll do is I'll pick them both up now and show you a little waggle test. So as you can see with the response, it's very stiff, very responsive, like the name suggests. If you pick up the Edge Monster, you can see, yes, it's at longer depths, longer lengths, but it has got more of a waggle. And just to sort of put that in context, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift this back, and I'm going to take it, those end sections, because I know I get people saying, well, the response is going to be more responsive because it's short, it's a shorter pole. If you pick it up, and you can still see that bounces, and there's some, the bounce difference is so again, this is, now I've taken the main sections off of this Edge Monster, and we've got full on of the response, and you can still see it's like an arrow, and it's so much more lighter, and that's what you'd expect. That's what you're going to expect for 85 quid. More for me, 85 quid, you get less length, another top kit, and you get a stiffer pole. Horses for courses, I don't think there's that much in it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the other sections round. We'll have a look at the top kit side by side, and we'll have a look if the interchange, and I'll even put it nose to nose, and we'll measure the difference that you're getting in the margin between both poles. Okay guys, let's talk about what a lot of people ask me. Do they interchange? So this is the response number 2 and 3, and this is the Edge Monster 2 and 3. So let's start with the top kits. And as you said, when I was sort of walking down the pole, the difference is quite significant. So the Edge Monster is the longer one, and obviously the response is considerably smaller than as I'd expect. And this is probably already going to answer your question about I do the interchange. Now I'm going to hold those up to camera, and you can see the difference in the ends, this being the Edge Monster, this being the response. It's way smaller, and this is obviously way bigger, and that'll be to do with the lengths of the poles and how they get the stability throughout the pole. So I already know the answer to this question. This is the number 3, and as you can see, the response can go inside it. It's that big of a difference, and obviously the other way around, which the Edge Monster, that goes over the top quite easily of the number 3 section for the response margin. So they do not interchange, so don't be getting kits for the Edge Monster thinking they'll interchange with the response, because they don't. Make sure you look at that really clearly when you are buying roller puller kits, that they don't all interchange. The response kit difference for me is better. I don't like long kits that much. I used to have them on the Daiwa poles. You can see that there is a little bit more bend. This is like an absolute poker in comparison. It's not bad at all, really, especially for the money. They are renowned for the good top kits Preston, but they are a bit long for me. But we'll see how they get on when we're fishing with them, and you know, we're going to expect those differences. Now, on point of fishing these, what's my opinion? Would I spend the extra money to get a response over the money that I'd spend, that I'd save? So what we're looking at, 85, we're looking at about £110 difference between, so 285, 170, around sort of the 100, around £100. So what do you get for that 100 quid? Well, you get stiffness, you get an extra kit, and that's pretty much it. You don't go past that sort of 8.5 meter length. There's no additional, at the moment, no additional things that take it further than that. Obviously the Edge Monster goes a little bit further if that's what you want. But for me, this is a big debate we have all the time on the channel, on the group. Margin poles for me are no longer than sort of 10 meters. After that, it becomes just a normal pole or a cart pole, and no one's sort of going to change their mind on that. I don't know your opinions. I've read, people's opinions either way, but for me, that's where I land. So we'll flip it around. We'll get the sort of tape measure, and we'll see what the difference is in length between both packages, and that might give you an indication if that 100 quid's really worth it or not to spend. Right guys, so like I said before, some people want to know this, some people not too fussed. I'm one of those where not really fussed about if it measures the original length of what it is, not really fussed by it, but I know a few people are, and I'm going to measure this just to make sure that we're covering it off. So I'm just going to put this one onto the end, so they are tip to tip down the pole. The tip to tip down there. I'm just gonna pull that up to 121 centimeters. So that it is 1.2 meters longer. So you would imagine the response is 8.5 meters. That's putting it at 9.7 meters. The Edge Monster, so obviously just under the 10. So I'm presuming that the response itself will be slightly shorter, but putting them side by side, nose to nose, you're gaining 1.2 meters when buying the Edge Monster. So again, it comes back to that question: do you spend £100 and get a stiffer pole, which this is? You can actually see it looking down the carbon. I'll swap the camera down in a second, and you can actually see the stiffness difference. So you're paying 100 quid for a response more, you're getting 1.2 meters less distance, but you're gaining an extra kit and the stiffness and lightness. That's effectively what you're paying for. And if that's where you want to go and you're not really bothered about fishing much more than 8.5 meters, then you're sorted. If you want that extra distance and your budget's not as expensive, as strong as enough to get a response, and you want, 2 kits is enough. That's 2 edge kits, or an edge kit and a paste kit. The other thing is the kits that are for the response, they're thicker as well, diameter wise. That they are a thicker kit. So although this is rated up to 20 elastic, this Edge Monster, correct me if I'm wrong, this is also related to a 20 elastic. These kits that come with this are way thinner than the response margin, so as you've seen on the footage. So I would be interested to see if a 20 would actually go through there, but I don't fish with a 20. I'm going to reiterate it again. I don't fish with big thick elastics, even for snaggy places, really. The only one that I've gone for in this one is an 18 to 20, so it's not a 20 plus elastic, and it's a hybrid fusion from ProGen, and it's super stretchy and super forgiving, but powers up really well. And I have faith in that, and that's the strongest elastic I've ever put in a pole. And I've landed 20-pound fish galore, doubles galore. So yeah, snaggy venues I can understand, but yeah, before we flip back onto main camera and sort of do a round off of what everything comes with, I'm going to show you down the pole. We'll show you the differences. This angle I can see is a really good angle for showing you the difference between the stiffness wise, and we'll show you that, and then we'll give the video a round off. Right guys, so just to show you, we're on about the stiffness factor, and you can see we've got them side by side. They're both lent it the same way, and there we've got the response on the left and the Edge Monster on the right. You can see there's significantly stiffer on the response, and just gives you a little outline of of what you're getting, where your extra bit of money is going. Let's jump back on main camera and right guys, so hopefully that's helped you in your decision into which one you would prefer to buy if you're looking at obviously the Preston range. That is, we're going to do a fishing review. We'll do a fishing review independently and we'll do one together as well, just to give you the whole package around both of these poles, as they're quite a talked scenario within the groups and things that I'm involved in anyway, and just give you a little bit of base information on that. And yeah, it's 100 quid, like we'll go back to the start. 170 quid is what I got the Edge Monster, and that comes with 2 top kits, which are slightly longer than the Response, and that comes with the 10 metre package with a dolly butt and a bag and tubes. The Response was 285, and that's 8.5 meters, although we've measured them both together and you're getting 1.2 meters less with the Response. It's a lot stiffer, thicker top kits, shorter top kits, and an extra top kit, again with tubes and a bag, so it weighs either side. Would you prefer the 8.5 stiffer and bigger and thicker and sort of more responsive and shorter kits, and an extra kit, or would you prefer getting that extra length, still super fishable, super light, and still well enough responsive, with those 2 kits, which you can obviously buy additional kits for £100 sort of less, and that's completely your decision. And personally, I prefer the Response pole. It sort of does everything I want, and most people that watch this will have an additional pole, so don't really need 9.5 or 10 meters worth of extra. 8.5 is usually fine, and for me that's where I would put my money. But I totally understand that everybody's on a budget, and you're absolutely on fire with that package for £170. You're getting a really good deal and a really good pole, and we're going to be testing them out soon, so keep your fingers crossed, and we should be out on a bank next time you see us, which would be amazing after 8 weeks in solitary. So yeah, join us on the Facebook group at 7 o'clock on Fridays for the live feeds. Join us at 8 o'clock on Instagram for the live feeds at angling_for_you. Thank you for your contributions and the comments in there, it's been really good. And following that, if you could like, share, subscribe, that will be fantastic. We're getting a good following now, nearly up to 6,000 subscribers, which is, I can't thank you enough for your support. And just that little like and share, put the bell icon on as well, and you'll notify you for when as next uploads come up and you can see them. So until we get on that water, guys, stay safe. If you're going out, you know, take care of yourself and be safe, and see you on the bank soon. Tight lines.